You're listening to ESOPOD, the Folience ESOP Podcast.
So, Todd Bransky, how's it going?
Good. Doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. I know you very well. We've worked together for a long time in IT, but other folks might be new to the company or they just don't get to interact with you as much as I do. So why don't you give folks a background on who you are, what you do?
Okay. Well, I started with the company in 1998. I started in the IT department. After a career in music education, I was a band director. Then I went back to school, got a degree in computers, and started with the Gazette in 1998 in the IT. And I've stayed in IT for the whole time. So actually, I'm reaching my 25th anniversary here this week, tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that. It's impressive.
Thanks. I've just really enjoyed it. In 2019, I moved into the Shared Services office, and I've been there with the IT department. I'm also working with Brian Bush and facilitating Leadership Development 1.0 and 2.0, and I've been a member of the ESOP Communication Team since 2013, and I just really enjoy that because I get to talk with folks throughout the company and visit all of our various business units, and it's been great. It's been just a wonderful place to work.
Awesome. So did you start the ESOP communication team or was that already formed when you came on board?
They formed in 2012, the same year that Folience became 100% ESOP. That team was formed, and prior to that team being formed, we didn't have very much education about ESOP or employee ownership. I think maybe there was some education about reading the statements, but we still didn't really understand how it all worked and how the shares got into our ESOP accounts. And so this team was formed to start that education process, and they did a presentation in early 2013. I think the presentation was about vesting, and I said, hey, I need to learn more about this. So as soon as that meeting was over, I went to the members of the team and I said, hey, could I join this team? I want to learn more about our ESOP and how it all works. And so with open arms, they welcomed me onto the team, and I've never left.
So you've been on the team for 10 years now?
Yeah,
right?
10 years.
Yeah, wow. So what do you do on that team?
Right now, I'm, I guess, the co-chairperson, Amanda Hayda and myself. I've been a chairperson of the team probably for 4 or 5 of the years that I've been on it. But this team is all about, education and activities and, building culture and just helping everyone to understand not only how the mechanics of the ESOP account works, how you get shares in your account, but also just about employee ownership and how we can embrace that and what we can do as employee owners to continue to build the value of our ESOP and, really build wealth in our accounts.
Why would you say the ESOP communication team is important?
Well, like I said, prior to 2013, we didn't have any education. I didn't, and I at that point I felt silly. I'd been with the company for 15 years and didn't understand what the ESOP was and how that account worked and what it even meant to be an employee owner, because we didn't educate, we didn't talk about it. There was just nothing that helped us to understand what that all meant. So for me, that's the biggest part. When the light bulb went off for me, how this all worked, my teacher background kicked in. I said, I really need to talk to everyone in the company and help them to understand this in the most simple way. And that's how it worked for me. Kathy Tarankina came to our team early on, maybe 2013, 2014. And I think I just said, could you explain this to me, like I'm a 5th grader? I'm just not, I don't understand how the mechanics work. I don't understand, where the shares come from or what the match even means. Like, where does that money go. So once Kathy explained it in very simple terms, it was like, okay, this is awesome. I need to teach everybody what this is all about. So that's our main goal of the team.
We definitely seem like we get lots of information. I know we just came out of October, which is Employee Ownership Month. Can you talk about that at Folience? What do we do, and maybe history, some stuff we've done in the past?
Yeah, a variety of activities. There's always a big lunch or a meal of some sort that gets everyone together. In the past, we've had an ESOPtoberfest that was kind of a beer and brats. We used root beer, of course, rather than real beer, but so we've done those types of meals. We've had this year was our ESOP is poppin', so we had popcorn chicken and pop and popcorn and things like that. We've just had a variety of let's taco about ESOP. So we had the taco bar. So there's always a lunch. There's always a theme. There's always activities. We've done everything from scavenger hunts to word searches to word finds to crossword puzzles to trivia. We used to do some ESOP Jeopardy. Just anything that we can do to help with understanding of ESOP and educate on ESOP and what those accounts are. We always have plenty of prizes to give away. We did a lot of gift cards this year. Sometimes we have hats and shirts and mugs and cups and things like that. So it's just a great month of celebration, celebrating our employee ownership, helping all the employees to get a better understanding of what it means to be an employee owner, get that culture built up, and just to celebrate being employee owners.
I sort of came in at the tail end of October onto the team, so I didn't really get the full picture of with the planning that went into it. How did you think it went? It seemed from outside it went really well.
Yeah, this year we had all new activities, things that we hadn't done in the past. Sometimes I feel like we get a little bit bogged down and we do the same thing over and over, and then it starts to, get a little boring as far as I'm concerned. So this year we selected all new activities, and I think the response was great. We had a lot of participation. A lot of people sent in examples of when they saw someone else acting like an owner. They explained what employee ownership meant to them and what their ESOP account meant to them. We had a really good response this year, and it seems to be getting better each year as people are understanding. They're seeing those statements and seeing the growth we've had in our accounts, and they're building that wealth. And so I just feel like it's really been a great build up from 2012 to 2013 until now.
Awesome. So you are involved, if I remember correctly, you're involved with more than just our ESOP and our ESOP communication team. You're kind of in the regional ESOP association. Is that right?
Yes, after having attended quite a few of the ESOP conferences, both at the local level and regional, and then finally at the national level, I just felt like it was, I wouldn't say my duty, but I felt like I needed to get involved at a higher level. So a couple of years ago, I did volunteer to serve on it's the, what do we call it? Not new member. It's the membership committee. Sorry, I kept wanting to say new member. It's the membership committee at the the executive level of the Iowa-Nebraska chapter. So we reach out to ESOP businesses, ESOP companies throughout Nebraska and Iowa that are not part of the ESOP association, and just invite them to join because of all the benefits they get from the education, from the attending conferences, and the literature that's sent out. So I'm part of that team, and so we meet once a month on Zoom, and I get to meet up with all those folks also at conferences. And so yeah, that's how I've also gotten involved in that.
So speaking of conferences, I know we both just went to the conference couple months ago, it seems like now. And you were not just there, you were also speaking. Can you talk about how that conference went and maybe some of your takeaways?
Yeah, I don't. Uh, Speaking at those types of things isn't natural for me, and it's not. I'm not super comfortable doing it, but um, I knew that I wasn't going to be alone. I was doing it as a small group, as a panel. So I was asked by the folks at Principal Financial Group. They were wanting to uh, put on like a panel session and asked me if I would be one of the panelists. So I was, and we got together a couple times beforehand to prepare and talk about what the program was going to be, what we would talk about, and then it got scheduled like one of the last sessions of the conference, so it wasn't jam packed, which was good for me. I mean, there was a lot of people there, but it wasn't like a wall to wall thing. So it's nice to get your feet wet like that. I've presented before, but it was more of in a game setting, and I was the host or MC excuse me, a Family Feud game. So
Gotcha.
I'm a little more comfortable doing that. But yeah, this went pretty well, and we got a lot of nice feedback on it. And the more of these you do, the more comfortable you get with doing them. So I'm sure I'll do some more presenting in the future.
How many conferences like that have you been to in the past?
Oh gosh, I've probably been to a dozen or more conferences. I've at least one a year. I always try to attend the Iowa Nebraska conference, but if I can get to the regional or to the national, maybe even be closer to 20. I don't know.
Wow.
But I always learn every time I go. I come back with pages and pages of notes that I'm able to share with our team, some new ideas, things to try, and yeah, I'm never disappointed. I get to talk with some old friends from other companies, and I always pick up new ideas. I think the conferences are really where all of our ideas get generated. I feel like we don't come up with a lot of original ideas. It's all like we've picked something up from this conference and that conference, and then we make it our own and uh, put it on here.
Yeah, this was my first conference, and I kind of thought it was really cool to see the common problems and solutions that everyone had in just trying to communicate ESOP culture. How do you get information to people? And it was cool to hear their ideas and give what we do is just like, hey, this is what Folience does. And people were like taking notes. And so, yeah, it's a really cool trading knowledge culture.
Yeah, it's ever since we won the Company of the Year award, you can tell that people want to hear what we're doing. They've called, they've reached out to us, they've asked to do conference calls with us. They send us emails and say, "Hey, how do you guys do this? And what do you do about that?" And still feel like we don't have all the answers, but we're happy to share everything that we've done so far. We don't really keep any secrets as far as our activities or education and things like that. I mean, other than the financial details, we won't give anything out.
So I know it seems like everything kind of ramps up in October for the communication team and then kind of goes back into relaxation, maybe a cool down period. What's coming up in 2024?
Well, I feel like we never relax, to be quite honest with you. We're always doing something. Right now, we're working on something we've never had before, an employee owner manual. Thanks to you and in Seth, we're gonna get that knocked out this year. But November we do take a little bit of a break just because there's a lot of work on this team, and it's all fun work, but it is extra work. Of course, we'll have a newsletter coming up in December. That'll be our end of the year wrap up newsletter. We'll get updates from each of the business unit leaders. We're also going to start recruiting if people want to join our team. I guess we're always recruiting, but January is always a good time to join our team. So if anybody's listening would like to join our ESOP communication team, We'll be happy to have you join us in January. We'll actually set our calendar in our next meeting, but there's another conference coming up. It's the Iowa Nebraska Chapter Conference coming up end of February. Sorry, I was going to say beginning of February, end of February. We're going to start working on our team's values. We haven't done that yet, so we're going to do that. We always look at our bylaws, review that, make sure that those all still make sense for us and they're working for us. Let's see, we've got, there's a couple different national conferences coming up. One in April, that's the NCEO conference, and that's going to be in Tampa, Florida. And then in May, of course, the ESOP Association chapter national conferences in Washington, D.C. In May, we've got our reveal, the share reveal meetings coming up. It'll be April or May, possibly June. We'll do some trivia around that time. There's just a lot.
I saw some really
We're going to try and do some ESOP 101 training as well. We're going to try and get that done.
I saw some really cool share reveal ideas at that conference, including one that was like they tore down a wall and the share price was behind the wall. Like they had to physically tear it down. That's really cool. Need to get on that.
There's so many really, really creative ways to reveal the share value. Now, Daniel has really taken that on himself over the last, 5 years or so when he's done that during his, we call it the road show, but where Daniel gets to go around and meet with all the employees. I guess you call it more of a town hall, where he talks with all the employees about our share value and our goals and things that are working well for us, and then he has revealed the share value. But if Chris would like us to do something, I'm sure the ESOP Communication Team would have fun doing, a wall or any, we'll come up with something. But we'll just see. We haven't really talked to Chris yet about that, and he's got several months to think about it. So
yeah,
no rush on that anymore.
So you already talked about people can join the ESOP Communication Team. If folks, for some reason, don't want to get involved in the team itself, are there other ways they can get involved in ESOP and sharing what an ESOP is?
Yeah, of course. At both Lifeline and Cimarron, those are both, big locations. They do have ambassador teams. Those ambassador team members don't meet with us on a regular basis. Like our core team meets once per month. Those ambassadors are available to help for when they have events, whether it's food activities, putting up posters, putting up signage, helping at those individual locations when there's larger events that take more hands on deck. So those are our ambassador teams. So yes, we're happy to have people help on those teams, both at Lifeline and Cimarron. I think there's 3 people at the Gazette that are part of our core team, so generally they can take care of that. There's several of us at Shared Services. But yes, if people want to get involved with the ambassador groups, we have those available. I know we'll probably need an ambassador or 2 at the Manhattan location for Cimarron.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, Todd, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today. It is always a pleasure.
You're welcome. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting a podcast. I think going forward, this can be a great way to get information out to all the employee owners. It'll be a great way for you to get to talk to various business leaders. And, I think if you can follow a few employee owners around at their daily jobs, that would be fun too. So thank you for taking this on. I know that you attended a session at the conference in Minneapolis about podcasting, and you were just like, yep, I'm going to do this. So yeah, I appreciate it. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. One of the takeaways I had from the conference was that I need to make myself uncomfortable to grow as a person. So this is definitely not something that I am normally comfortable with talking, especially talking by myself. That's really weird, but in an interview format, it seems a lot more natural. And that was Emily Birds from Razor that was doing that talk at the conference, and that kind of inspired me to get going and do something. So
yeah, they've had their podcast going for a little over a year. It's, I think the folks at Razor Holdings love it, and it's out there for public consumption. So if anyone would like to jump in, it's called Buzz Bites. And what's your podcast going to be called, Sean?
This is the ESOPOD.
ESOPOD. Okay. You'll have to tell us all about that name sometime.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably in the intro.
Well, it might be in the intro. Yeah, we'll see. There'll be an intro, and there'll probably be an outro. Something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Cut all that out.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to ESOPOD. If you want to get in touch, send me an email at esopod@folience.com.